in your world. So you have to be really mindful, because at that point you're not dealing with people, you're dealing with entities. You're dealing with a demonic entity. Because there's nothing from higher source that is going to want you to stay in a negative space. Not like that. Not past a certain point. You know, everyone has their lessons, but it doesn't become an excuse for negative traits to occur and then living in it. Okay, what else? What else does my collective need to know for this? Yeah, someone's being forced to tower moment. So a lot of individuals, we've got the Queen of Cups. So this is about like a forced emotional release, because withholding your emotions is greed. Guys, greed comes in many ways. It does not just have to be fiscally. It doesn't just have to be monetarily. Greed, you can hoard anything. Anything that you have an overabundance on that lacks temperance is greed. So if you are an emotional hoarder, meaning you hoard emotions from others, you hoard emotions of yourself, you hoard emotions from the past, that is greed. You have been and will be marked by the universe as greedy. And then, because it's out of temperance, it's going to show up in your life. And what's going to happen is the emotional greed that you put out there upon others is now going to return upon you, especially if you've gone past that point. So if you've been doing something for eons and refusing to evolve, refusing to essentially, I don't feel like saying like taking your lessons in stride is the best way to describe it, but it's the closest thing I can think of, is taking those lessons and evolving from it rather than living in it and then repeating the cycle. Like that, honestly, that's the truth of the Ouroboros. It's a reptilianoid frequency. It's a demonic low vibrational frequency. It's the frequency to continue to do the same thing over and over again. That's why the snake is eating its tail. It doesn't break the cycle, guys, and that's not a good thing. That means you're not evolved, and at that point you're an animal in a human's body. And your DNA will physically show up that way. You will read as whatever is your originating species prior to you evolving into being a human, so to speak. And a lot of reptilian beings fall into that category by default. So you think dinosaurs, lizards, chameleons, anything reptilian, they have are prone to spiritual retardation, meaning lack of evolving from being solely primal to being a functioning individual who can think for themselves separate from what society has structured for them to think and be. And I want you guys to be smarter than that. I want you to be more intelligent than that, because this reptilian frequency tries to affect everyone. And their point is to overrule this dimension with that low vibrational frequency. And as long as everyone stays asleep or fakes being asleep, because a lot of people are just fake sleepers, you can tell in how they do things throughout the day. Like, you can physically see it when you descale the layers from off of your pineal gland. So anyway, closing out on this read, Queen of Cups, Ace of Pentacles, and the Tower. There's kind of like a backwards energy about this, because I would say what would happen in the typical sequence of things is that it would be the Queen of Cups, which is the identifier of the character, the Tower, which is what the Queen of Cups is going to go through, and then the Ace of Pentacles. But surprisingly, once again, it's kind of falling like out of sequence. So there's something about out of sequence energy. There's something about like kind of like almost a dyslexic energy. So some of you might resonate with having some type of dyslexia, or I'm trying to think, maybe like Asperger's or ADHD. There's something about like where you are, either you are the energy or the environment and your energy or the people you deal with have this either archetypal energy connected to them, and or they physically have these, I don't want to say ailments because I don't think they're ailments, being that it's a spirit and it's something that people can collaborate with healthily, and it doesn't have to rule their life by no means. In fact, people who have those things can generally be like so intelligent, it's insane, because they can see things in a way that most people by default can't. But if it's not dealt with properly, if it's not worked with, so to speak, then at that point it becomes a spirit that's not of a high vibrational frequency. But anyway, going back to this, the Queen of Cups, the Ace of Pentacles, and the Tower, it's like I'm getting like someone constantly losing the little bit that they get, and it could be I want to say an ending of that cycle, and you can take it and apply it as an end of that cycle where you're no longer that individual who obtains something emotionally, a connection, and then loses it. Or it could be that this is your final cycle of going through that, but then that means you're entering into something new. That doesn't look too good. I'll admit, this one was very interesting. Oh my goodness. Okay. That's it for now. Take it as you will and apply it to where it fits naturally. You know where to find me, and that's only online. Don't ever try it in person. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.